Welcome to 10 Minutes with Tony Scott. We really appreciate you tuning in to today's show. Today's sponsor is Tommy Chicago's in Mendota Heights. Tommy's is a great place for lunch, catering, team meal, or even a place to go before a wild game. Located just south of downtown St. Paul on Dodd Road and Highway 110. If you love deep dish pizza, you got to check this place out. Later in the show, we'll do a Tommy's trivia question. I'm on day 17 of Movember, and I got to say it's coming in nicely. Movember was designed to raise awareness for men's health issues like prostate and testicular cancer and mental health issues. I'm growing my facial hair out, and YHH is making a donation this month to the Movember Foundation. I encourage you to do the same. Congrats to the three champions of the battle for the Blue Ox, Minnetonka in AA, Spring Lake Park in Single A, and Eden Prairie in the silver bracket of the AA. We saw some great games this last weekend. Our AA first team was pretty easy to choose. Starting in goal, Axel Rosalind from Eden Prairie wins it for his shootout performance in the silver title game, shutting out all five of his shooters. On defense, Clay Hannes from Minnetonka and Ethan Frisch from Moorhead are both electric defensemen who can't be missed when they step on the ice. And up front, John Baker from Cloquet had a great weekend for the Lumberjacks. Bobby Brink from Minnetonka was named the tournament MVP, and Luke Lohite, also from Tonka, makes the first team. On Sunday, Luke had two big goals to ice the title for the Skippers. We will announce the entire team, both AA and A, on our video highlight reel tomorrow on YHH. A couple of weeks ago, we had John King on the show. John and I are the co-creators of Game On Minnesota, a website that points out the great personality that sits inside of our game right here in Minnesota. The site address is GameOnMN.com. This week, we released 3 articles. The first one was called 4 Words, The Marching Band on Ice. A marching band on ice, a quick piece on the Mankato State Marching Band that took the ice last Friday in Mankato. It was awesome. The next is The Old Pro, an article I wrote that stereotypes the old pros we run into in the hockey world. My favorite, of course, is Mr. Humble. And finally, John's latest masterpiece, The Baby-Faced Assassins. We went out to 10 bars and had the bouncers tell us what players from the NHL's Central Division they would card and the ones they wouldn't. Some fun empirical evidence. My favorite was the 31-year-old Zach Parisi got carded by everybody, but 25-year-old Marco Scandella only got carded by half. Producing Game On has been a blast. We hope you enjoy it. We have some really great content coming up this year. In this week's edition of Big Wins, the U14 Colorado Thunderbirds beat the number 2 Bell Tire in Detroit last weekend. Speaking of Colorado, Boulder Hockey Club's Pee Wee team beat our tournament favorite Littleton on Sunday night in the Quebec qualifier semifinal, ripping off 5 unanswered goals to win 7-4 at the Pepsi Center. And back here in Minnesota, 2 big wins for South of the River teams. Prior Lake beat number 4 ranked Apple Valley in Pee Wee AA, and Rosemount beat number 6 rated Eden Prairie in overtime Friday night in Brooklyn Park. And how about that Buffalo Bantam AA team? They beat Bauer Invite champs and undefeated Minneapolis this past week. That team has given a lot of teams trouble so far in this young season. Good to see them finally get a quality win. Here are a few YHH-related notes. We still have 1 slot available at the Squirt B and Squirt A level in the YHH Squirtacular in January. We lost a Squirt A team last week due to a 5th grade field trip. We have 2 or 3 teams at each level expressing interest, but still no takers. If you're interested, send us an email at youthhockeyhub@gmail.com. Mark your calendar for our Now Prospects Combine next summer, held at the University of Minnesota and the Lumberyard. Our minor Pee Wee camp will be June 15th to 19th, and our major Pee Wee camp will be June 22nd to 26th. Also next summer, we will host 4 tournaments. The 3 we hosted last year, the Warrior Cup, the Summer Freeze-Off, and the State of Hockey Showdown. We will also host, by invitation only, a AAA state tournament for 2003 through 2006 birth years. Stay tuned for more info on all these events on YHH. Finally, we have a few spots available for our 4th annual Hockey Helpers event on December 12th in Edina. Teams come to a church in Edina to make sandwiches for the Sandwich Project. For more information, go to the sandwichprojectmn.org and look for a tab called Hockey Helpers for more details. Not a lot to report this week on the Tier 1 front. Only 2 real big wins of note in the entire top 10 in both divisions we cover, U14 and U16. We mentioned the Bantam Thunderbirds win over Bauer Invite winner Bell Tire earlier, and then the U16 CompuWares fooled us again. After bouncing them out of the top 10 last week, they came back in and beat number 4 Victory Honda to earn their way back into our top 10 for the 4th time this year. Shout out to the Arapahoe Pee Wee team on winning the Quebec qualifier. They beat Boulder 3-1 last night to qualify for the Quebec tourney in February. Andrew Gleason had a goal and an assist to lift them to the title, and Jack Chandler had 9 points in 5 games on the weekend for the Warriors. This week's Tommy Chicago trivia question is pretty easy. One of our all-tournament players from the Blue Ox played Sunday against his summer coach and distant relative. If you can name him, send an email to youthhockeyhub@gmail.com to win a $25 gift card to Tommy Chicago's. This week's featured now prospects are both Bantams. Moorhead, Minnesota Bantam Ethan Frisch is an outstanding prospect. He's got great speed and hands. His shooting ability is uncanny for a 15-year-old. Our other now prospect is Robert Master Simone from Shattuck St. Mary's. The Long Island 2001 has 32 goals and 32 assists in 29 games. He's a gifted center with a high compete level and skill. He's at his best in one-on-one situations. This week's boom goes to Uncle Charlie. You know, the uncle who gets invited to the game and gets kicked out of the game. Tell you what, if you're coming to your nephew or niece's game, do us all a favor and don't get kicked out. Boom roasted. This week's thumbs up goes out to all the great people out there who've helped us step up our coverage this year on YHH. Veteran reporters Frederick 61 locally and TJ Madison up north. Our new reporter James Newhouse here in Minneapolis and Scott Catalino in Colorado. Least we forget guys like Kurt Rolling and Todd Hauk who make it happen at all of our tournaments, and Greg Tinty who helps out with our video production. A huge thumbs up to all of you. We'll see you around the rink. Have a nice day.